Okay, this is an apartment we are going to do the countertop over. We're going to repurpose this. So this is our first step. Brought it into the garage. Went ahead and put some support boards underneath it. And then this is where we take out the hump on the top of it, right at the edge. It's got like a little bit of fiberglass in there, I'm not sure, or some kind of rubber. We ground that down. Then we went ahead and bondoed the edges to seal the seams off. Then we went ahead and bondoed that front edge down to cover that up, and we sanded that down. And we used a 40 grit sandpaper. We just kind of roughed it up a little bit, take the shine off of it. Then we went ahead and bondoed the rest of the seams there. We bonded in that corner crack there, just and some of the little nail holes that popped up through there. And we wiped it all down with the acetone to clean it up. Then we went ahead and put on our first coat. That was a prime grip. It's gray. You can get that at Floor and Decor is where we bought it at. I think it was like $120 for that 2.5 gallon. We put the first coat on that. That seals it, locks it in. And then we used an AST Schunix that was actually out of Germany. We're trying that new concrete. And we brushed on first coat with a little stipple brush right over top of that. We did 2 coats of that. And we let those dry in between. We left our corners rounded just to see how it turns out. Usually I could square those up. That was the second coat we went ahead and put on there. Okay, now we went ahead and put all of our 4 coats on. We went ahead and did our colors. We got Great Line Gray. I'm using a Stonehenge, and then a black, and then a black FX. That'll be our finish coat on the black FX. Those are our rollers, and then we're going to go ahead and lay our first coat down using the Great Line Gray. This is like our deep coats that we'll put in. It'll be deep down in there. Put a couple coats of different color, and then we go ahead and spray it off with a snow cap white that gives it a white finish. That was our first coat of Great Line Gray. Put our second coat on of the Stonehenge. Then we went ahead and sprayed it down with snow cap. Then what we did is the very last, we went ahead, after we put 2 more coats of the colors on there, we used a marble effect. It kind of comes out, gives it the crack look. Looks like it's kind of like cracked granite. See how it kind of just flows out of there. We just stood back and then sprayed that right on top of it. We went ahead and put our first coat of epoxy on. We measure that out about 3 ounces per square foot, about 3.5. We used an epoxy called, it's Marine, it's a tabletop Pro Marine epoxy. That was our first coat we did. We let that set up 24 hours, and we came back. And then you'll see a lot of the little air bubble holes that come through. That's usually from the marble effect that we use. Always gets a little bit of air holes. So our second coat is we just rough sanded it down with about 220 grit. Knock those down a little bit. wiped it back off. Then we used our stone coat countertops as our final coat. Mixed about 75 ounces total to finish that off. Those are some of the paint that I use to do different epoxies.
For the third time this week, I'm buying booze for the next 2 weeks.
This is how we just use this. We just use a sponge roller. We get that at Menards. Those hold up a little bit better. They're much thicker. We just did that for our edge first. Just enough to get it on. Then I went ahead and poured out. Just do a little bit at a time, and then I went ahead and poured out some of the epoxy there just to get some of it laid down. Now remember, this is an old countertop that was actually put in when the apartment building was built in 1980. So the wood was still kind of rotted out underneath, but it wasn't that bad. It was still in good condition. We just went ahead and repurposed it, kind of give it that better look. Now I'm just kind of feathering everything out, make sure all the epoxy's over the countertop. Now I'm just using a stipple brush to kind of just blend it all in. That all settles up. Once you just do that, it'll settle back down. The process takes usually from start to finish about 8 hours to do a countertop like that, but I did it over a period of a few days. So after that, I let that sit up for about 5 minutes. Then I just went ahead and torched it down, took all the air bubbles out. I usually do that about 3 times. And that's the finished project. Went ahead and put it back in the apartment. So that's kind of like the finished look of it.